Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be giving an update on my last DD for KTOV. Now, I'm going to be going as well through news, a little bit through the company quickly at the very end, but very detailed through going through the presentation and different pipelines. You'll find that in my last DD. Now, going quickly here, we're going to go through the 1 month, 1 day, and then the 5 days, 1 hour period in order to determine a little bit of a micro perspective after the macro one. So going quickly here, we can get to see that the MACD is declining. So that might be a little bit of a dangerous level, but considering that it has stabilized a little bit around this region here, we need to look more around the 1 hour period in order to determine what the next movements are. The willing percent R shows it to be a little bit on the neutral side, so that's a good news for us. It's not oversold, which would be a better news, but it's also not overbought. Going to momentum here, we can get to see that it's holding alright on momentum, nothing crazy here. So the willing percent R is still under 50, so that's good news for us. However, it's still a little bit higher than what I would like it to be at. Going towards the volumes, it is not a lot of volumes coming in, so it's still stable volume. So that's a little bit dangerous when you have a high volume and then a lower volume, and you can get to see it here multiple times where for instance, over here, where it kind of continues to drop, but we've also seen massive high volume here going to a lower volume, and then it skyrocketed the day before. So it really depends on the amount of volume that we're probably going to see for the next day. But if volumes keep decreasing, that might be a little bit of a dangerous thing. But this one is moving more on the news rather than just full volume and technical analysis, but it has a little bit of a story to tell. The 10 SMA is above the 30 MA, which is good news for us. The current support, I'll be going to the 1 month, 1 hour period in order to determine the supports. The 5 days, 1 hour period here, we can get to determine to see a little bit of the movements. And we see that the movements here have been quite stable. And what it looks like that it might actually be decreasing a little bit towards the red, but it's been stable in the aftermarket and in the last few hours, which is good for a long weekend sell-off. Going to willing percent R, you can get to see the stock is considered right now oversold, which is a good news for us. You can get to see that the average directional index is tending to be a little bit more sloppy, so this will really trade just merely on news. Moving towards as well, the moving averages, you can get to see that the 0.94 is below the 30 EMA from a 1 hour perspective, but it's still above the 200 SMA and lower than the 50 SMA, so there's mixed news here going on. You can get to see the stock is under the VWAP, which is in more of a buy zone at the moment, and not more of a sell zone, just based on the VWAP alone. So there's a lower accuracy to that. So you can see that the moving average of the stock, which is here in blue, is under the stock price. So that's a little bit dangerous, but it's still catching up quite quickly. We get to see as well on the Fibonacci retracements here that the stock is still within the Fibonacci and it's following it pretty nicely. I'm going to go to the 1 month, 1 hour period here to determine it quickly. And you get to see that the stock current resistance would probably be somewhere around the 0.103, 1.03 position here. And the current support would probably be sitting somewhere on 0.9 in terms of Fibonacci. And we can see 0.77 has been previously a double bottom for Fibonacci retracements. So it's really following up nicely. What I expect for this price for the stock is it would probably see perhaps 0.89 before it hits anything above later on, as I don't think it would break that resistance again. Now, if it happens to drop around 0.78, I do expect it to at least try to establish a little bit above there. Now, in terms of the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA, which considers it bullish or runish, it's still in the same perspective here, where the 50 SMA is above the price, which is a little bit dangerous, but still the 200 SMA is below the price. And you get to see that going as well for the 1 month, 1 day. That information is also relayed where the stock price is above both, which is good news for us. Going towards the different trend lines here, we can get to see that the stock is more of generally an uptrend, although it has right now a downtrend and an uptrend. We get to see that the stock has been moving sideways for a little bit here, somewhere around this region for the previous day, and it has dropped quite a bit. So what I'm seeing here, that it could be actually a bull flag we're seeing here. But what you want to be very careful of is depending on the PRs that come next. And I'll go through what the next PR that we see on our radar is in a bit. We can see as well that the stock is still wedging up a little. So that's still good news for us if the wedge plays through, but we're probably not going to see that until the end of next week. So that's a little bit of a dangerous one. Now, the previous trend line that I drew before did not have it towards this level, so I'd had to draw another trend line where it's actually touching the 0.81 on the 1st of July on Wednesday where it happened here. Now that was a momentarily dip and then it shot back up, so that's a good place to be where the support is being somewhat tested, and that support would probably be somewhere around 0.79 region to 0.81 region. Now going in a little bit towards the different news that we have, so I pulled up their the news here, and we get to see a couple of things. So there was 2 recent PR releases. One of them was just basically telling their shareholders that they have they just closed $35 million of financing, which is good news for the company in my opinion. And there's going to be an update for there is an update for the business strategy and business plan. As the end of 2020, June 2020, they have $60 million in cash. So in terms of, in my opinion, that just means there's likely not going to be an offering in the next few days, especially since they have that much amount of cash. And I don't expect it either way to have one anyway. Moreover, they have the support for the partners, so it doesn't seem that they're actually releasing any news right now in terms of new collaborations or anticipated collaborations, but rather just still open up dialogue. Now, going in here a little bit towards in terms of the annual meeting, they just mentioned that they will have an annual meeting coming in I believe, 6th August. So that's still a really far PR. I expect perhaps to pick up this one before that conference later on, perhaps early August, depending on how things go. Not a lot of news coming in other than the previous offering, so that's probably that is why they are high on cash. So I don't expect much, but there's one thing that is a bit of a red flag for me, and this one is savvy management. So they're known to have a little bit of shorting behaviors in the past and decreasing the stock price. So that's something I want to keep an eye on. So it's a little bit of a dangerous play when you're playing with stock, for instance, the savvy's in. But other than that, what is my expectations for this stock personally? I expect the stock to, at some point with the right PR, to still jump off. Now, I'm not going to be picking up the stock, for instance, until perhaps later on that week after I assess the current movements, because it's a little bit of a mixed situation right now, but the stock is anticipating a high PR. Now, even though the PR we received, in my opinion, is still good, but it's not the PR that people are looking for. And until that kind of hope a little bit dies down a little, I would then consider to buy the stock a little bit at an accumulation level. Now, in my opinion, right now, it's going to enter the accumulation level perhaps in the next few days before it sees a massive jump. But I could be also very wrong, because you can see that the stock has entered previously a similar movement somewhere around here, for instance, right? Somewhere around here, and then it jumped right off the next day. So it's a little bit of a very hard pattern to determine, and that would just be based on how much mentioning for the stock is, the anticipation, and the PR. So that's just been my opinion for the stock. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this stock? Make sure to subscribe, share, and like. Have a good day.